Looking for some wild speculation to start your Monday? How about the 150 megapixel Canon EOS R3? Or does the EOS R1 interest you? I'll also be covering some more credible rumors like the universal battery grip and 2 new prime lenses. But before we go any further, you have been warned that the R3 and R1 are highly speculative and suspect rumors. But just remember, how many of us thought the R5 with 8K video was even remotely possible?
Delivering informative capability-based reviews and tutorials on camera gear, filming techniques, and content creation.
Hello, it's Simon from The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, make sure you click the subscribe button, and the links to everything I talk about in this video are in the description down below. The Canon EOS R3 is highly speculative. I don't give it a lot of credibility, and neither does Canon Rumors. This camera is supposed to have 150 megapixels. Yeah, 150 megapixel sensor. This is far and away much more than the R6, which tops out at 20 megapixels. The R5 tops out at 45 megapixels. These are reasonable resolutions for cameras catering to video and photo shooters. At 150 megapixels, this is way more than the Sony A7R4 at 61 megapixels. It's way more than the Fuji GFX 100, which is a medium format camera. I've said it before, the RF lenses are capable of delivering way more detail than what the current cameras are providing. I have no doubt that the RF system could eventually deliver up to 200 megapixels. Delivering 150 megapixels requires some serious upgrades to the image sensor and software. So let's break this one down. Canon Rumors has a very good reputation and gets things right far more than they get things wrong. How many of us believe them when they had the rumor about the 8K video camera with IBIS? I certainly had my doubts, but the rumor turned out to be fact just as Canon Rumors claimed it to be. But this rumor is classified by Canon Rumors as being plausible and coming from an unproven source, so let's not get too excited. We do know that Canon is working on a high megapixel camera, that this camera is supposed to be coming out this year, but previous rumors indicated that it would be 80 megapixels to as high as 100 megapixels, which is still aggressive, but far more realistic. If the R3 is capable of 150 megapixels without pixel shift, this camera would again leapfrog the competition. Sure, the Panasonic S1R is capable of delivering 180 megapixels, but only through pixel shift technology. I don't care much for pixel shift as it has very few use cases and is very fussy. But consider this, it would also beat out medium format cameras like the Fuji GFX 100. That's punching well above its weight class. It's not just getting in Fuji's face, it's punching them right in the middle of it. Sadly, I don't have any other details, no information on the image processor, video capabilities, or use cases. But I state my reputation that Canon is working on a high megapixel RF camera and that it will be designed with photographers first and foremost in mind. Will it come out this year? Perhaps. Rumors first indicated that we would have this camera announced in February. Instead, we got the Canon EOS R5. I'll keep you updated on this in future videos. Be sure to watch my other videos as I often include updates at the end if the rumor isn't really sufficient enough to have its own video. Since we've gone down the rabbit hole of wild speculation, it's time to discuss the EOS R1. Yep, there's a rumor out about the EOS R1. This is the first mention of the R1, and this is the first channel to report on it, though I'm not sure that this is a good thing. The new camera announced today that the Canon EOS R1 is being developed and will be announced at the end of 2021. They claim to have obtained information from the internet but did not specify the source. This will be the mirrorless version of the 1DX Mark III that we all know is coming out at some point. The 1DX Mark III is a big leap over the Mark II. So it would not surprise any of us to see a mirrorless version come out in another 4 years' time in time for the 2024 Olympics. But the new camera reports that the R1 is in development and will be released by the end of 2021, which does not fit into any previous schedule for the fast action sports shooter. No bitrate is mentioned. It will have 6K, but it will not have 8K. Late last year, the 1DX Mark III was rumored to have 6K video, but ended up having just 5.5K. So it isn't really a stretch to think that the R1 will be capable of 6K video. But does this mean that it'll be limited to 20.1 megapixels like the Mark III? And why would Canon release another flagship camera right on the heels of the 1DX Mark III? The Mark III is not at all a disappointment. Is Canon providing the market with a mirrorless version of the 1DX after the market has received the R5, R6, and R3? Or is this rumor simply not credible? We know from the way that Canon names its cameras that the smaller the number, the more significant and powerful it is. Look at the current lineup: 1DX, 5D, 90D, down to the 250D. It's no surprise to anyone in the camera industry that the R1 is on Canon's roadmap. It's no surprise that it will be in their flagship camera, capable of delivering high-speed, fast-action sports photography. What we don't know is how capable it will be. Will it have IBIS? Will it be able to capture images at 30 frames per second? Everything about the R1 is speculation, but it's my job to comb through the internet, boil down the rumors, and serve them up to you condensed with analysis. I might even lose a subscriber or two over this video, as some viewers really hate rumor content. So if you're still here and you like this video, do me a favor and click subscribe and like. However, I will continue to produce rumor videos because many of you still like them. It's also part of my vision to deliver informative news, rumors, reviews, and tutorials on camera gear, filming techniques, and content creation. Now for the more credible rumors. Canon filed a patent for a universal battery grip designed for all its cameras. This makes a lot of sense and could see lower prices as Canon produce a single unit for all its cameras, reducing expensive die and manufacturing costs. It would also be nice not to have to buy a different battery grip for each camera body. Essentially a win-win all around. The rumor is thanks to Keith at Northlight Images. But let's be clear, just because we've seen a number of products based on patent filings doesn't mean that this product's going to be developed. No one has spotted this in the wild as yet. Let's just hope it's true. Having an interchangeable grip would be a plus for sure. We also have two affordable RF lenses to report on today. These come from Canon Rumors. They report two new low-priced prime lenses, the Canon RF 40mm f1.8 and the Canon 35mm f1.8. If previous lenses are any indication, these should be priced between $100 and $200. This is the third video I have published this year on RF lenses. It's time to quickly sum up what has been announced and what is still due out this year and into 2021. As you can see from this graphic, Canon has a good inventory of RF lenses. Much better than the 3 lenses available on launch, and unlike launch, Canon has several offerings for price-conscious consumers. Canon offers several general-purpose lenses, including the 24-240, the 24-105, and the 35 f1.8. The 24-105 provides 10 times zoom, but does not offer weather sealing. If zooming is not such an issue, I'd go with the 24-105 as it has a constant aperture and is weather sealed. That's the f4, by the way. On the photography side, we have the standard 70-200 and the 24-70, as well as the essential 50-1.2. With the addition of the 28-70, we have a very good lens for portrait photographers that capture incredible detail. If the R3 is released anywhere near the 150 megapixels, be sure to grab this lens with it. For the ordinary filmmaker, I have 2 separate recommendations. For the price-conscious consumer, I recommend the 24-105 or the 24-240. For the ordinary filmmaker that is serious about improving his or her game, seriously consider the 15-35 alongside the 24-105 f4. The 24-105 is not too expensive at $10.99, but the 15-35 will set you back a bit of coin. We are still missing some gems like the 65mm macro and the 135mm, but Canon is still actively developing the RF system with at least 6 lenses due out this year. The big surprise is the 70-135 f2.0. I can't stop talking about this lens, and since I have it covered in detail in this video, let's move on to the recently announced lenses. We will be getting a professional grade 35mm at 1.2 and 2 affordable pancake lenses in the 50-1.8 and 40mm 1.8. Also announced is the 100-500 and 2 extenders. Canon Rumors did talk about a 13-21 f2.8, but stated that they doubted that this optical formula would become a consumer product, but it would probably be part of the development for an ultra-wide RF mount lens we expect to see sometime in 2020. But that didn't stop some YouTubers from picking it up and stating that this was a rumored lens to be coming out. I am interested to know the pricing of the RF 100-500 f4.5 to 7.1. Considering the focal ratio range and the focal length, this should cost a whole lot less than the EF 500 f4, which sells for about $9,000. It won't go for less than $1,000, but it shouldn't take us much higher than $2,300. A lot has been rumored for 2020 on the Ordinary Filmmaker channel, we were right about the 1DX Mark III and the EOS R5. I think much of the market was surprised by this one, but the camera specifications have not been released yet, so we still need to see how capable the camera is in 8K. Will it dazzle, or will it disappoint? We still have the R6 to be announced, and then the high megapixel mirrorless version is also to be announced along with an APS-C RF body. As far as the R3 and R1, I'd park those rumors for a later date. Don't alter your roadmap until we hear more. The Canon RF system is fast becoming a serious platform, a powerful platform for content creators, both for video and photo. The only problem I see is, will the ordinary filmmaker or photographer be able to buy into the system?
Thank you for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. All equipment used and notes are placed in the description box, show more box, or down arrow thingy next to the title on the mobile app.